I've never seen Trump put so much effort into coming off restrained. Very interesting. It shows you his fear about really escalating things with Elon Musk. But we now have information about what he's saying to people privately. So let me show you the context of a clip of him going, "Oh, I don't know about that New York Times report about Elon's drug issues. That seemed unfair to him." Privately, he's calling people up and saying, "This sucker's a drug addict." Okay, so a little bit of different messaging from him.
Did you have any concerns about his drug use when he was working for you?
I don't want to comment on his drug use. I don't know. I don't know what his status is. I read an article in the New York Times. I thought it was, frankly, it sounded very unfair to me.
You said earlier today that...
What is he really saying, though? Trump is calling people, ring, ring, it's Donald, Elon's a drug addict, and telling them that Elon Musk is a big-time drug addict. Not even one of them friendly neighborhood drug addicts. He's a big-time drug addict, according to Trump. President Donald Trump has been privately telling allies that Elon Musk is a big-time drug addict, according to a lengthy report published Saturday. The newspaper spoke to 17 different sources on the heels of the two-day unraveling of a once-time strong alliance between Musk and the president. I don't know if you've heard about this, but Elon and Trump were tight. And then, if you've been under a rock, something happened and they split up. Okay? And all sorts of fireworks were popping. Trump was reportedly rattled by Musk's attacks on his big, beautiful budget bill, and shaken Thursday when the billionaire CEO echoed impeachment rhetoric about him. The president has reportedly spent recent days calling confidants and acquaintances to navigate the high-profile split. So a few different interesting anecdotes from this. The biggest one is that publicly he's not really leaning into attacks against Trump other than hinting he might go after his government contracts, but privately he's calling people up and saying he's a big-time drug addict. And what was interesting was we saw in the wake of Elon exploding, Trump got pretty quiet and then just had reportedly dozens and dozens of calls with reporters and trying to set the narrative differently without it seeming like he's out there speaking publicly about it. So rarely with someone as unhinged as Trump do you see him be this cautious. It does give some insight into what he believes about Elon, because if you see Elon, I think we all acknowledge when he goes nuclear, it's nuclear. And so Trump has to be mindful about distancing himself from Elon, but not completely creating a lifelong enemy that does everything to destroy Trump, which I'm rooting for, obviously. Trump was said to have made at least one call in which he called Musk a big-time drug addict. Wow. That quote is showing up a lot of times. And this also goes through how he's telling JD Vance, which I'll show you some clips of JD in a second here. He's saying, just don't escalate too much, and telling his allies, don't escalate too much. So they're all trying to be treating this with kid gloves, but then privately spreading rumors, which this is the most, the archetype of a friend who walks up to someone in the school hallways and goes, "Oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. Oh, you're so adorable. Okay, bye-bye. She's a bitch." And I heard that she has more bodies than Bonnie Blue. You know that person? That's Trump right now. I wish Elon the absolute best. He's a drug addict, a big time one. He made it in the drug world. Like this, he's saying, I just wish him well.
What's your view on Elon Musk as of today? I mean, have you heard from him at all?
Honestly, I've been so busy working on China, working on Russia, working on Iran, working on so many. I'm not thinking about Elon.
On the China,
I just wish him.
China! I'm not thinking about Elon at all. Did you hear that he's a big-time drug addict? Yeah, I don't know. I heard that he's impotent. I don't know. I mean, this is not my wording, but yeah, I heard that. No, I know he has a lot of kids, but he has to be on like heavy ED medication to get that thing going. I've just been told these things. I don't know. What does that have to do with the conflict? I'm not thinking about Elon. I'm working on China. I'm working on Iran. I'm working on Turkey. It's turkey time.
This is turkey time. This is now we're talking turkey.
But I'm just telling you what I know, okay? Vote for the big, beautiful bill. And then one of the things that keeps coming up about what made Trump believe Elon was so unstable was that Elon got into we heard about the confrontation with Scott Bessent, but apparently it got physical between Elon and Scott Bessent. We'll look at this. We'll look at JD. We'll look at some other things while we go through. Please do click the subscribe button if you appreciate the show. Get your live show tickets, lukebshow.com/live, and become a member by clicking the join button below.
But there is a process. You just can't come in and get everything you want and do it entirely your way with not thinking about people at all. And what Elon did, and I think the president tried to make sure that he had every opportunity. We all want to cut federal spending. His promise and commitment to the president of cutting $1 trillion in federal spending was something he stuck to the end until we found out it was all a fraud. I mean, this is what caused the physical altercation you had in the West Wing right outside the Oval Office between the Secretary of Treasury, Scott Bessent, who's a good friend of mine and a very even-handed guy. He and Elon got into a physical altercation.
I do want to start a petition. I would like for Scott Bessent to do some drugs.
And that's because, number one, people felt that day that Elon might have been on drugs. And number two, Scott called him a fraud to his face and said, look, we're in the middle of a terrible budget fight. You committed to $2 trillion. Then you committed to $1 trillion. Now you talk about $160 billion. We don't see where you got anything. And obviously that got under Elon's skin. So I think the president went out of his way to basically give him every opportunity to perform. And it turned out just to be a fiasco.
So even Steve Bannon, who has always admittedly had a problem with Musk, but even someone as MAGA as him is taking our stance on how much a failure Doge has been. Because some of the Republicans pay so much respects to, listen, I don't appreciate what Musk is now saying, but man, what he did with Doge will always be remembered. I pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of Doge. But if you're honest with yourself, even as a MAGA person, you can acknowledge that it didn't do what you thought it was going to do, and it just wreaked havoc and didn't really make a dent in our debt problem at all. President Donald Trump was dejected, the Washington Post reports, processing his very public split with the world's richest man. And it goes on to talk about how there was a physical clash between Scott Bessent and Elon Musk, where Elon Musk was being berated by Bessent for how much of a failure he was, because he hasn't done with Doge what he said he was going to do. I love how even pro-Trump folks are going, did he find any fraud? Like, we heard about the transgender mice and the condoms, but I don't know if any of that was real. And I'm really sad about it. And so Elon jabbed his shoulder into Scott Bessent. And that's when things really spiraled. And when Trump became convinced that maybe Musk is not in his right mind. So speaking of Elon, he did post in response to someone saying he needs to apologize to Trump. What's the apology for exactly? Be precise. I will apologize profusely as soon as there's a full dump of the Epstein files. And then he deleted those posts. Very interesting. Very strange. I'll keep you updated. JD Vance, similar to Kash Patel, was also recording a podcast while Elon posted the initial Epstein bomb. And it is really interesting. What happened to JD?
What the hell happened to JD?
It's really interesting to watch someone who, despite all of his issues, is pretty rhetorically talented, to struggle so badly to rhetoric his way out of this.
Airwaves today. Bring it up,
man.
dude.
Oh, man.
The fucking shit missile is in the cannon.
Okay. Wow.
Elon Musk, time to drop the really big bomb, right? And I thought this was going to be on Iran.
So it's funny. I haven't even seen,
right?
I haven't even seen this one.
But he goes, at real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. This is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day. Nice signature from a South African DJT.
Man. Well, so just so your audience is aware, when is this going to air? Like tomorrow or 2 days from now?
45 minutes airing now, dude. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
no.
Presumably, when this comes out, people are going to know more about this than even I do,
will.
because
I just learned about
this. Kind of happened on the plane when I was coming on down here. Okay,
I agree.
Look,
this is new.
Here's my basic reaction to like all this stuff is look. First of all, absolutely not. Donald Trump didn't do anything wrong with Jeffrey Epstein. Like, the guy is whatever the Democrats and the media says about him. That's totally BS. Here's my basic read on it. First of all, I'm the vice president to President Trump. My loyalties are always going to be with the president. And I think that.
So already I'm really uncomfortable. He's set up multiple. All right. So listen. Okay. Like all right. So listen, here's my basic take on the whole thing. All right. So, and then he just eventually gets to, I'm Trump's vice president, so I have to be loyal to him. That doesn't sound like the biggest confidence proclamation. I do just want to say though, a lot has been said about J.D. Vance. He once said Trump could be America's Hitler, and then he started supporting him. He doesn't seem to have any principles. He's a national disgrace. If you edit his face, he looks really funny. If you don't edit his face, he looks really funny. He looks kind of dilapidated in that suit right now. A lot of things get said about JD. Sometimes he's called JP by Trump. Sometimes he's called JD Mandel by Trump. So a lot of things are said. What I don't appreciate is that no one acknowledges. Maybe the eyeline helps to bring this out, but the eyeliner. But he genuinely has really pretty eyes. I was just noticing that. He genuinely has really pretty blue eyes. And I appreciate that. Very pretty blue eyes. I don't know why the media won't talk about that. They'll talk about how he just doesn't seem to do much as vice president, doesn't seem to be a great leader, doesn't seem qualified to be vice president, etc. But they never talk about his pretty eyes. And that is, I've had just about enough of it. His beard also helps, but his eyes really are, I think, what is ignored by the legacy mainstream media.
Elon, he's an incredible entrepreneur. He's actually done I think D.O.G.E was really good. This sort of effort to root out waste, fraud, and abuse in our country is really good. And look, man, I'm always going to be loyal to the president, and I hope that eventually Elon kind of comes back into the fold. Maybe that's not possible now because he's gone so nuclear.
Well, his feelings.
But I hope it is, man.
His feelings are hurt. Why though? Do you know why?
Yeah, I mean, so look, I think number one.
Stop saying look. It's so you come off so nervous. All right, look, listen. All right. Look, we're all listening. We're all looking. Go. Make your point.
Why though? Do you know why?
Yeah, I mean, so look, I think number one. So. Elon's new to politics, right? So his businesses are being attacked nonstop. They're literally like firebombing some of his cars. And by the way, we're looking into a lot of this stuff. I mean, some of that stuff we're looking into is an act of terrorism at the Department of Justice, because I think it is an act of terrorism. So I think part of it is this guy got into politics and has suffered a lot for it. But I mean, and I get the frustration there, and I get the frustration that, I mean, look, Congress, you got this spending bill. But the main purpose of the bill is not actually spending or cutting spending, though it does cut a lot of spending. The main purpose of the bill is to prevent the biggest tax increase. But I understand, like, it's a good bill. It's not a perfect bill. Like the process in DC, if you're a business leader, you probably get frustrated with that process because it's more, bureaucratic. It's more slow moving.
Yeah.
So I think there's just some frustrations there. But I really, man, I think it's a huge mistake for him to go after the president like that. And I think that if he and the president are in some blood feud, most importantly, it's going to be bad for the country. But I don't think it's going to be good for Elon either.
Dang. Now didn't he say I was on the plane whenever this was happening? So he actually, I think, knew about this. And that was what he could cook up as a thing. All right, listen. So, all right, focus. Ready? Lock in. Ready? Look, I know about the media is wrong about the Epstein. And I'm the vice president. So I'm second to the president. And look, listen, I'm going to be loyal to the president. But if you look at the spending bill is cause I got my big boy fingers out. So I'm making a point here. Ready? Even Kash Patel, who looked like he was about to be hit by a car during his interview. Before Rogan even got the tweet out, he went, that's not my lane. I'm not going to speak on that. No, I'm not going to be a part of this. And even he, I think, handled it a little bit better. I do just want to say, a lot of people have been asking, well, maybe we'll listen a little bit more to this podcast and then we'll answer the question, what happened to Kimberly Guilfoyle?
Well, Elon also tweeted that he thought that in the second half of this year that there would be the Trump tariffs will cause a recession in the second half of this year. Now, who knows what could cause a recession in the second half of this year? It could be a buildup of our entire just history of being alive. But he's
Theo Von, ladies and gentlemen,
saying this. So it seems like, and this is just me guessing, and I don't know Mr. Musk. I never met Mr. Musk. One time he fed my buddy spaghetti at a party, though, dude. My buddy, people were raging and shit, and
your buddy couldn't feed himself the spaghetti?
Well, my buddy said, he offered my buddy some spaghetti, and my buddy said, yeah, I'd like to have some. And then instead,
but only if you feed it to me?
But instead of getting him a plate of spaghetti, he made him some and put it in his mouth, dude.
Does your buddy know Frederick Douglass?
My buddy, I'll say this. My buddy actually is a friend of FDR. Or no.
That's a terrible.
Sorry, of shit.
Frederick.
I don't know. God, dude.
Okay.
Oh, fucking ruin this shit, dude. Fuck, dude. Civics, man. Chill out. But he said that he thinks but do you think that he just thinks that there's too many, that it's not a fair bill for the people? Do you think Elon Musk is for the people?
I mean, I think that he's making a mistake in going after the president.
Okay.
Yeah, I think his heart is in the right place, man.
Okay.
I do. I think he got into this for the right reasons. I think he's frustrated. I think he's an emotional guy. Honestly, I'm a very emotional guy.
Yeah.
Like it's the president is it's interesting because if you read the media reports, you wouldn't necessarily see this. Mm-hmm. He's not like quick to temper. Like he's not one of these guys who flies.
Bullshit.
JD, don't say that. Dang. That's just, even his fans don't believe that. They believe he flies off the handles, which is why they like him. They like that he flies off the handles.
Like quick to temper. Like he's not one of these guys who flies off the handle. That's a little bit more what I'm like, honestly.
Oh, he's
and
smooth.
I think he's smooth, man. He's stoic.
His
and
blood pressure's fucking 007, dude. That motherfucker is.
I don't know if that's good, but,
I mean, but
yeah, I get what you're saying.
But it is where it is.
But I think Elon means the best, but I think he's making a mistake.
Yeah, got it.
That's
Understood.
my view.
Wow. Can you imagine saying just Trump he's just so even. He's so level-headed. He's not quick to emotions. That's what I thought you all liked about him. I'm very confused. Apologies, playing that again. So totally miscellaneous. I did see some people online asking what happened to Kimberly Guilfoyle, this person who was Donald Trump Jr.'s fiance of many, many years.
Ladies and gentlemen, leaders and fighters for freedom and liberty and the American dream, the best is yet to
I didn't know that was in there. Oh, that scared me. Yeah, the best is yet to come. Her, Kimberly Guilfoyle. She, if I'm not mistaken, to answer that question, kind of split up with Don Jr. and then went to Greece to be an ambassador. So she went bye-bye. But bye-bye alive. Good bye-bye, but bye-bye somewhere else. Thank you, Kimberly, for your service to this country. Share your thoughts in the comments.